James is in Wisconsin. My wife is applying for the Economic Injury Disaster Relief Loan. She claims it does not have to be paid back. Why is it not called a grant? Thank you. Because it is not a grant. It is a loan with promises of forgiveness if you meet the stipulations. You remember that time that they said if you take out a student loan and you work for an underprivileged, underserved area for 10 years that they would forgive your student loans, and then they didn't? You remember that? Well, I remember it. I remember it clearly. And these loans, they don't even, the ink is not even dry on the legislation. The banks don't even have the notes figured out. They don't have the documentation figured out. They're slapping this stuff out there, and it's going to cause you trouble. Listen, if something sounds too good to be true, let me help you. It is. And when the federal government says we're here to help, those should be the scariest words you ever hear in your life. So, not a chance that we're going to recommend you take out the PPP loan or the EIDL loans either. None of them. If they are forgiven, effectively they're a grant, but I am predicting a mess on the forgiveness, and I am predicting that some of you are about to walk up into a noose that you thought this was just like a hot knife through butter, free money from the government. Let me just tell you, there's no such thing. So, Ken, one time I was doing rehabs on houses.
Really? You were actually with the nail gun and everything?
No, I had crews. This is back before I went broke. I had like 4 crews, and I got over into one of the gentrified areas of Nashville, East Nashville, where they were doing historic rehabs. Now, this is before doing historic rehabs over there was cool. Now everybody's over there doing cool. But I mean, I got these 1908 houses and this kind of stuff, and they were pieces of junk, but they were very ornate, beautiful woodwork and mantles and stuff in them. And so I get this one house, and the Historic Commission has grants for $5,000 if you keep the facade of the front of it looking historic, because they want to put the homes back into their natural, and they're cute, beautiful little homes. And so it made sense to do it from an aesthetic viewpoint. And I thought, I'm doing this anyway, I might as well get the $5,000 grant. And so I get all signed up. I'm counting on this $5,000, which I wasn't spending, but about $30,000 on the property to fix it up. So the $5,000, was a pretty big chunk back, percentage-wise. Well, Codes comes out and says, your front porch doesn't have a rail around it. And I said, well, no. It didn't have a rail around it in 1908, and the Historic Commission wants me to put it back to meet 1908 guidelines. Yeah, well, you can't get a use and occupancy permit. Nobody can live in the house if you don't put a rail around the front porch. And I called the Historic Commission. They said, well, if you put a rail around the front porch, you don't get the $5,000.
Yes, 2 government agencies
working together like a hand in a brick.
Yeah, to put you in a corner. Yeah, and, that's exactly right.
You know what I did? I put the rail on the front porch. I got the UNO and I tore the rail off. And then I got the $5,000. So I had to beat them at their own game. But
there's innovation.
That's just, but good God.
That's great civil disobedience.
The Hysteric Commission in contrast with the Nashville Codes.
Look,
and that's exactly what the crap's going to happen here with these things.
Look, this is
exactly. It sounds like free money. Gotcha.
Well, it's true. Well, listen, this isn't a political statement.
Put a rail around it.
This is a statement of fact. They didn't let anybody read the bill. Okay, there are people like you and I that pay attention to the facts, and the facts are that when they passed the stimulus package, there was no review of the bill. There's all kinds of stuff in there that the bankers don't even know. I've talked to some friends of mine because I wanted the real story. They can't even get the funds.
I know. They can't get the funds, and they can't get... Well, they're not going to get...
They're already
making the loan.
McConnell said it today. They need another stimulus package. So this thing,
they can't get the guidelines. The regulations aren't in place. You're about to get screwed, America.
Yeah, it's a loan.
I'm sorry. I know you were stimulated, but you shouldn't have been. I'm just telling you, you shouldn't have been. You can't put the rail around it. Oh, you can put the rail around it. Nope, you can't put the rail around it. Nope, it's not going to be forgiven. It is going to be forgiven. Wait a minute, did you hire those people back? Were they the kind of people we wanted you to hire back? Are you abiding by all our politically correct guidelines? Did you make a donation to Planned Parenthood? I don't know. What are they going to dream up? I don't know. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I just know the borrower is slave to the lender, and baby, you's a slave.